Great Vashadara Dharma Nara Marda Mila Loda Dharma Gambamba Nara 3 times omniscient Gambamba holding all the 4 great and 8 lesser lineages these 3 glorious Ogba and so on masters of the the mean the number you are something you the Kagu Guru Saholya Zana will follow your example. Revulsion is the foot of meditation. Vidveda who is not attached to food, both the Ganga Dadu is like Ranya, so that I have no desire for honor and gain devotion in the head of meditation. The Guru opened the gate to the treasury of all instruction to this meditation. Who continue these obligates and grant your blessings so that children devotion. The awareness is the body of meditation as is not wanted. Rises especially the essence of realization through this meditation. Simply without altering your blessing. Meditation is free from conception. The essence of thought is Dharmakaya, as is not nothing. Not everything arises from it. This meditator who arises from unceasing Prajna. So that I realize the inseparability of samsara and nirvana through all my births. May I not be separate from the perfect Guru and so enjoy the splendor of Dharma, perfecting the virtues of the passing Buddha. May I be the beatitude state of Vajradhara. Good evening, everyone, in particular people out there and people in here from beautiful Gampo Abbey. And we actually had Söpa Chöling, there a lot of haircuts around here, a whole bunch full of haircuts. Susan, you didn't get yours, however, not yet. We're looking forward to it. It's sort of beautiful and a little odd to be back here in a place where I spent, I think, 30 years. And very familiar. I particularly like going out at night and being a little scared. Walking to my cabin and you never really know whether you will see a hyena, not hyena, what was it called?
Coyote.
Coyote, close. Coyote or bear or a moose or anything of that nature, which is nice. So basically each step is a little risk. And it's actually nice because in the city we're so safe. The only thing you have to watch out for cars. But in Canada, you know, don't even need to watch out for cars because everyone stops when they see a passenger. Okay, so maybe I tell you what I plan to do. What was it? It was about, I think, one of the most beautiful Goyogas there is. And I think it's loved literally by every lineage, partly because due to the beautiful melodies. And so we did this a lot at the cremation of Trungpa Rinpoche, right? They always performed this one. And so I want to share a little bit why the topic came up. First of all, KCC, we love it, and what we usually do, we do the Guru Yoga. We do not talk actually much before that, because I think there's just something about it which does not need too many words. And then at the end, after chanting it, we usually play from Lama Gyurme, the Guru Yoga chanted in Tibetan, and I call it the goosebumps. Guru Yoga, he's from France, Paris, and was dubbed by Carlo Rinpoche to be called Umse because of his voice. And so that's what I also hope to do today a little bit. But then I thought it would be nice to do something about the structure of it, what we are actually doing, and why it really affects us so much. What is it about it? So I think I will say a little bit about that. And so this came up in many respects. I was teaching in Vancouver, a Mahamudra retreat based on pointing out of the Dharmakaya, and also on Lodrö Thaye's discussion of the Marpa Kakyu, the esoteric teachings of the Marpa Kakyu in his Treasury of Knowledge, which is one of my favorite summaries of the Kakyu path. And I didn't spend too much on this. This basically has two parts: the path of liberation and the path of upaya. The path of upaya is the 6 yogas, and the path of liberation is Mahamudra. So it's, I think, the very best discussion. It combines all summaries of the Kakyu path, the Takpo Kakyu lineage, the 4 dharmas of Gampo Abbey, and lines them up beautiful. It distinguishes between 3 kinds of Mahamudra: Sutra, Tantra or Mantra, and Essence Mahamudra. And within Sutra, it distinguishes between ground, path, and fruition Mahamudra. But the way it's put, it's just like unbelievable. It basically explains Buddha nature and how Buddha nature in the ground Mahamudra teaching, it explains Buddha nature and how it gives rise to 2 options: either to go astray, not realizing it, or towards realizing it. And then once you have these 2 options, you try, of course, not to realize it. And so then we have the path, the pointing out of the Dharmakaya is put into the path Mahamudra. So what we did, and also what you all here in the room and maybe people out there actually did, when we practiced the pointing out of the Dharmakaya, it tells us where in the path shamatha falls, where vipassana falls, and where the 5 investigations fall. This all path Mahamudra, right? And this is just so well done, incredibly well done, so that it got inspired to say, okay, so we broke the ice. In the 20, 30 years ago, we studied a lot these kinds of things. And so basically I thought, what else is there by Lodrö Thaye, which is deeply inspiring, and why don't we dive further into this? And so the Calling the Guru from Afar came up, and also the Song of Lodrö Thaye, right? And when I read them, they basically all an exposition of the ground and the path Mahamudra. Not too much about the fruition, right? But basically it spends a lot of time where we are at and where we could need some further help. In particular, in the retreat, we talked about the half-baked club, right? Half-baked club is something where you basically discuss in what states you were in before you go into retreat, and then do the 3 retreats, and in what state you are in after the retreat. And we called the after state retreat, we called it half-baked club, because we were not quite the same as at the beginning of the retreat, but we also did not realize the boomies yet. So. And in many respects, Guru Yoga is about filling the gap between half-baked and full-baked. So just so to see a little bit of the connection. And in Vajrayogini practice, just to make in Yidam practice, it's the difference between self-visualization, which is half-baked, and the front visualization, which is fully realized baked. So the beautiful thing about Lodrö Thaye's discussion is it offers you a path of the mantra yana, of the 6 yogas, of any kind of visualization practice, sadhana practice. And then it also offers a path which does not use any of the abhishekas and goes directly into looking at the nature of the mind. So it occurred to me then that it might be wise to look, what do we easily learn when we do sadhana practice, and what do we easily learn when we do Mahamudra practice, and then to merge those 2 experiences. In other words, we can, if the essence is the same, if the essence is basically Mahamudra, right, then we should be able, when we do both practices, we should be able to draw on our experiences in the visualization practice, and we should also be able to draw on the experiences in shamatha and vipassana practice, which we did a lot within Jamgön, which is content. So basically, the issue was I got inspired, and then I think I bubbled over during one of those feasts, and then told stories a little bit about Jamgön Kongtrül being here at the Abbey. And then it was Les who brought up and said, we have that the Abbey Les, who is in charge of the archive. Is this correct, right? I do not hear you.
More or less informally. We don't have a formal archive, but I try and collect all the bits and pieces.
That's what they call you are it.
Yeah.
So in other words, Les said, look, we have the data, but we don't have those stories. So then I said, okay. And the idea was, before I kicked the bucket, so to speak, to share a little bit some of the stories here. And the only problem then was there was actually just 1 or 2 or 3 stories I knew of, so I felt a little bit guilty. And but then it occurred to me, for example, Jamgön Kongtrül is not just what he did at the Abbey, it's also what he did at Söpa Chöling during the cremation, or what he did at Denmark during the Gampo Abbey. And so basically, I think I can share a few things which illuminate, I think, a little bit what Jamgön Kongtrül sort of represented for us. And then one further thing, I half a year ago or something like this, I gave a talk with David Schöbel, Karma David Schöbel. Do you know Karma David? The translator of Jamgön and of His Holiness. We were approached to give a talk within the series of the Sons and Daughters of Noble Families, where David was requested to teach about Trungpa Rinpoche and Trungpa Monastery. And I was asked to talk about the history of Gampo Abbey, of Söpa Chöling, of Vidyadhara Institute, we had the Kshetra here, and of KCCL. And in this context, this was video recorded, by the way, is available on our KCCL website. So from that point of view, I do not see today a reason to repeat that. But then I said, what can I then focus on? And because I'm teaching right now in Vajrayogini practice in the 3-year retreat, let me tell you what happened when I did the prep work for this talk, where I communicate with Les Marie about, so that we got the data straight and I'm not making up things, you know, which we usually always do. But, you know, there's some because you haven't been there, you know, I can basically tell whatever I want. But in any way, so I thought when I studied Söpa Chöling, let me ramble a little bit. It's a little bit structured, but let me share where I'm coming from, and I think then the Guru Yoga will make more sense. When I was supposed to teach something about the 3-year retreat, me being me, I Googled where did the first 3-year retreat happen? How did the tradition of the 3-year retreat start? And then what came up is it started with Lodrö Thaye, and I said, oh really? But what about Milarepa? I mean, they all went into retreat, right? It cannot be, I thought it cannot be quite true that Lodrö Thaye started the 3-year retreat tradition. So basically I said, before I repeat that, because you never can trust AI, right? Right. So I better read it up. So I read up about the history of which we call Satra Rinchen Ling, I think. And then one of the first sentences was when Lodrö Thaye started Satra in Papum. There already existed a 3-year retreat tradition. And I said, well, that's not just wrong. Mm-hmm. But then when I read it up, I found out that when people went into retreats in the past, they showed up one day and then moved on to another cave, and they could also practice on their own schedule, right? And then basically the book said, no, Lodrö Thaye started the structured, institutionalized way of doing the 3-year retreat. In other words, in all other places, you could just come, stay for a while, and then move on to another cave or something like that. So Lodrö Thaye invented 4 sessions, no books besides 1 or 2, no talking for certain periods, and you have to show up. And that sounded so familiar to me. Then I suddenly thought, oh, what we actually repeat, we are in Lodrö Thaye's tradition. All our guidelines and restrictions or whatever, they actually were established at the time of Jamgön Kongtrül, right? So that's I found interesting. because suddenly then we had an identity. I thought we're just one of many people like who started this. So sometimes the Nyingma friends who go into the Nyingma retreat, we're much looser than you, right? And Gelong Kongtrül did his retreat in France. We heard, well, you know, there's nothing like you have to or you can if you want to. This is probably exaggerated a little bit, but in any way, so I found suddenly our root and I found our lineage, and it was not just that we just ended up doing a 3 retreat. We do the three retreat in the tradition of Jamgön Kongtrül Lodrö Thaye, who is officially accepted to start the 3 tradition as an organized structure. And then I went a step further. Then I said, who consecrated the building? Do you know? It was Jamgön Kongtrül III. So we had a person come, and I can show you a few photos. You might recognize this. Just a sec. I just have to find it. Too many windows. Oh, here it is. Look at this. Do you see this? Do you know where this is? This is the window. You see this window? When you look at the back, this is the window, this is this window, and here's a wall which didn't exist yet, right? And Jamgön Kongtrül Rinpoche was giving an abhisheka here, right? And Ponno Rinpoche sent next to him, somewhere down here, on which you're not seeing him right now. And during this abhisheka, he called me up at some point and said, Ponno Rinpoche's throne is way too low. Do you know he's a very high lama? So then we had to go out and build up the height. And Peter Waltz was there. He said, I have 2 cushions in my hotel, let me drive there. So he drove to the hotel, came back, and then we raised Ponno Rinpoche like this higher, this much higher. And then he was asked to stand up so that he can sit on this higher throne. And before he stood up, he put out his tongue to Jamgön. And so this all happened here. So I thought this connection that also Jamgön Kongtrül has with our Sangha, and that actually his previous reincarnation established it, and he consecrated this building through this abhisheka. I thought this made things click, so then I wanted to pursue more who Jamgön Kongtrül is, right? So this is one, oh hold on, no, not this one. This is outside with Ponno Rinpoche, right? And let me just stop this one. I'll show you a little bit more. Okay. I just have to find it. Oh, here it is. So I want to show you a few photos of Satra. Just one sec. I think this should be good enough, okay? This is Papung, Taisudal Rinpoche's monastery in Tibet. And where is Satra located? You see it? Yeah, it's up here, okay? Okay, so I think that was neat. Now we do a little bit close-ups. So it says here, Söpa Chöling's model based on the three-year retreat tradition established by Jamgön Kongtrül, Lodrö Thaye in Tibet, Satra Rinchen Drak, sea upper right corner, which is near Papung, sea middle of bottom. And this is how his retreat looked like. And then, of course, whenever you have Buddhists, they remodel. And so the next stage is this, they added these buildings to it. And now one more thing. When we moved here at some point, we got all the ropes and things from Trungpa Rinpoche. And so we looked all through the ropes, and then someone unnamed wanted them to go to the archive, and I fought for the ropes. They should stay at the Abbey. They will just disappear in the archive. No one will ever see them. And so basically there were his ropes and some other ropes. And now it gets interesting. When Lama Pema was here, they went to the archive. In the archive, you know, you can say only U and A for so long. After all, it's just books and tapes, right? And then I said, oh, I remembered that part of the set was a set by Lodrö Thaye. And basically, this is the set which you see here. It was wrapped up. We found it, and then they freaked out. They brought up apps where to recite the blessings, and they were all completely immersed in it. And so there's Lama Sangpo in the back, Lama Pema, and I think one other Lama. In any way, with Jamgön Kongtrül Lodrö Thaye's Dharma robe is a Chögu. And then we looked it up on the web. Just one sec. Hold on. Where is it? Oh, I can say what it is. Lama Ochen saw that robe before, and it was written on the robe. This is the robe of the long name of Jamgön Kongtrül Lodrö Thaye. And Lama Ochen said it was given to the Chokang in Lhasa. And he said, this is an old tradition in Tibet that the high lamas go to the Chokang and offer up a robe. But isn't that weird? So then we remembered that, and again, this was a little cornerstone which established our relationship with him, that Trungpa Rinpoche asked someone to buy this robe in India. So he was directly involved. He wanted to have this robe. But
Sangpo, can you move the, we can't see the robe on the statue, if that's what you're referring to.
Oh, you're not seeing this? What you see what you see, right? You see Lodrö Thaye?
Yes.
Now you see. Okay. So basically, I had a description of the archival documentation, what Lama Ochen was saying. It's only not in this particular file, it's another one. But so I summarized it for you, right? And so here is now a depiction of Lodrö Thaye, which is actually at Satra, right? So I can, you see this? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And this is, where is this? Oh, this is in Söpa Chöling. Look at this. Oh no, this is something else. Gampo Abbey. Okay, so this is good enough for right now. So for my story here. In other words, for Gampo Abbey to know that we are doing this, and whatever you do and whatever you might be complaining for, oh, it's too strict or whatever, and it's Lodrö Thaye's idea. You can blame him. And I have a suspicion that he was German somewhere. Right? This is mine. Because 4 sessions and no book, just 2 books, it's just like way too out. The question was then, one of the translators who wrote about it, they asked, what do you think, how many people participated in his retreat? And you think, oh, it must be hundreds, right? It were 5. 5 people and 2 attendants. And he did 9 retreats in a row. He basically did for 20 year or a little bit more, 3 retreats. So that basically what they say about Jamgön Kongtrül Lodrö Thaye, that when you look how many, he wrote more than 90 books, 90 books. And Trungpa Rinpoche said, if you look at his life and see how many books he wrote, you say, how can one person possibly write so many? At the same time, when you look how much retreat time he actually did, you say, how could he have done so much retreat, right? In addition, of course, he was also, in terms of the monastery, involved in the politics of whatever is going on. I think there was some war going on, and he had to go and pacify the warlord and stuff like this. So what I will not do today, I will not talk about the biography of it, but they are, when you want to read it up, whoever's online, there's something called the Treasury of Lives, and it discusses each great Dharma practitioner in Tibet and also within India. And so there's about 10 pages just about his life, and it's summarized in a very professional way and a good way, also from a practice point of view in many respects. And it's and has often beautiful tangas associated with it. So it's just but I'm not gonna go into his life at all. Okay.
Sangpo,
Yes.
it's Ningje. Will you
Okay.
please clarify the date that Jamgön Kongtrül III was at Söpa Chöling when he consecrated the
It
building?
was this September 20. I've written it down. Just one sec. It was in for sure 1990. That's clear. I think it was September, but I don't remember. I forgot the name. I had written it down somewhere. There's one more important thing. That's maybe the most important one. I read in his biography that his room, Ninche, his room was always messy. So he had so many books on the floor that he had trouble. Sorry? I had nothing to do with me. I just like that story. In any way. Okay, now one more thing. Jamgön Kongtrül IV. He gave a public talk, his very first one, December 30th, 2012. And he gave it on calling the Guru from afar. So what I will do now, I reread it, and he basically presented the structure of the Guru Yoga. So I basically based it on him. I had made my own structure, and because different melodies are involved for different sections, it's actually fairly easy to structure the text. However, so let me just see. I think I covered most of the points. So what I want to do a little bit, talk about how Jamgön Kongtrül influenced not only Gampo Abbey, but how he influenced also our community. And also a little bit, when I looked at how often he met, I might have received most of the things from him. And so I can maybe tell a few stories first. and then we will go through the structure and the content of and then we will actually chant the Guru Yoga. And then I received a video also last night of Jamgön Kongtrül giving a 50 minutes talk at the Abbey when he arrived in 1990. It was done by Michael Wood, who saw the announcement and said, "Do you know that I have a video of it?" So I asked him whether you could pick 5 minutes or something, and it's not so much the content of it, right? And the quality, of course, it is a handheld camera, but I thought it would be nice to share it, right? But let me first fill you a little bit in on a few stories here, which you might like. And this is, so in other words, because they're also a little bit personal, but also not personal. For example, I received full ordination from him just one day before the cremation. So that was one thing. And I had not requested this ordination. Pema set it up for me. And then she came to me, I think 1 or 2 days before. "Is it okay? I asked for you to receive full ordination. Is that okay with you to get it from Jamgön Kongtrül?" And I said, "Let me think about it." So there was this. I received Chakasamra Abhisheka from him in Denmark. He gave Abhishekas of the Kakyungakse for a whole month. Tengar Rinpoche was reading the Longs. And part of the setup was interesting. At some point, he wanted to go swimming. So we all got in a bus and drove to the swimming pool. And then we were about to go in and say, "Oh, this will be interesting. I want to see what happens now." Then he said, "Oh, hold on. Let me first look through the windows." And then he saw like a lot of women with bikinis. "No, we're going to turn around. We're going to turn around." So we gave it all up and went back home. That was a nice little story. And I thought he should have known that, in his own omniscience. Why having to look through the windows? It's come up. Let me tell about cremation. There's one story, which, first of all, in Denmark, in general, when he talked with me, it was always like he saw the future or something like that. And that was sort of, and he expected from you to have no problem with that or to join in, which is really weird. So basically, he did occasionally certain things. And maybe let me just share it in terms of the story, and then we see who he really was. He was, I think, you could say, Superman. He was so active, overly active in every minute, right? And let me just share the thing so that we have a little bit feeling for it. Cremation. I made tormas for 1 month, helped making tormas, and then we had to carry it up to the Purkan site. And then I said, "Oh, now I can relax, and I'm gonna." I did not know where I would be staying, but I thought I would just join everyone and just enjoy the show. Then Chöpen Geshe was the main Chöpen for the whole event. He basically said, "Oh no, you and Gelong Sultan, you will be Chöpens," which was, it was just like jaw-dropping. First of all, it's in Tibetan, and so they needed people when we were assigned to Jamgön Kongtrül. That's why I'm telling this a little bit. Jamgön Kongtrül and Gyaltsab Rinpoche were my bosses, and the situation was, as in the fire butcher, you take the sticks. I didn't tell the story, did I? No. You take the sticks, offer it on a tray, and then you carry it to the portico, and you actually offer it in the fire. And I just say constantly, it's just not real. It's just not real that I am doing this. It just didn't make any sense to me. And so I sort of lost my mind. So each time I get the sticks, I load the tray and walk towards it. And then Tenzin Dorje, the secretary of Jamgön, he sort of yelled at me, "Hold it higher, you Westerner," or whatever, something like this. And I did not only did this once, I did it I managed to do this 3 times, till he sort of lost it a little bit. But then there was the one point after that, I went to Jamgön Kongtrül, and he did not offer, he offered 2 or 3 sticks and then stopped. And then he looked up and we were under the tent. He started talking for something for 30 seconds or whatever. And then he went back and before it was just plain routine. It was plain routine. You do this, you go back, get it out. What happened? So I go out there and make the offerings. And as you might remember, there was this rainbow, right? So it came just at that moment. And I, in my naivety, because he did not see the rainbow, I saw it because I had no tent about myself. In my naivety, I tried to signal to him, "Oh, it's a rainbow." And he looked at me really annoyed. And, didn't I just order it? Didn't I just talk to them? And really annoyed that I even tried to explain to him that there's a rainbow, and he didn't care about the rainbow and say, "Oh, let me see how it turned out." None of this. He just wanted to move on. He said, "Well, isn't that what we do?" or something like that. But in any way, you could of course say it was just a coincidence or whatever, but this was really odd to me. Maybe this is one story, the other one at another time, maybe privately. But what I wanted to share, actually I should tell you one. I was shrine keeper in Söpa Chöling, and Germans are very tidy people. They want to have things organized. So I saw all these covered texts on the shrine, and then I looked at the closets and found more texts, but more additional little packages, white, and a good number of them. And then I, of course, collected them from the different shrines, and because I wasn't quite sure whether I'm supposed to do that, I first finished it so that it's done. And then I erased it with my MI, and then we thought we should go first to the Umse. He might know what these things are. So we started opening up the, so basically we want to see what's in the packages. We didn't dare opening it. He opened it and it was black pills. So then he put his finger, made it wet, picked up a room, started, black pills, black pills. And I said, "Don't eat our black pills, we want to keep them." Then we said, "Oh no, we have to address someone else." And then because I was just a shrine keeper, then I talked with Steve Jewell, who at some point a week later, or whenever it exactly was, came to me and said, "Look, you asked for that we should ask the Rinpoches or whatever to identify what we have, and Jamgön Kongtrül will do this right now." And then he said, because it will be crowded up there, and I'm invited. But he said it's a very sweet thing. Because it was your idea, I think you should go. And so I did. So I walked up the stairs, and who do I see? Jamgön Kongtrül sitting on the couch. I have a good memory, had a good memory at this time. Oh, lots of people, so we better make use of it. And there was a couch opposite him. Then I said, far away, right? But I better sit over there, just far away a little bit, and let the other people come in. And he saw me sitting on the same level as he did. And he didn't say anything. He's just like, you sit on the floor. And then Chad Levinson was the translator. So basically then the whole room was completely packed. Then he unwrapped the text and said things like, jewel ornament of liberation. And we non-speaking Tibetans said, oh wow, that's really amazing that you can read. It's on the cover of the text. It was just, we were just completely blown away. So then he opens up the other things. We showed him the bell here. And he said, what's the face here? And, oh, this is the face of the Buddha before his birth. But it was so quick, he didn't have to think about it. Then we unpacked it, and there were pills. It said, this is this pill, this is this pill. There were different kind of ones. He said, just identify them. There I thought, how can he know that, right? That what these pills are, because they're just different colors or whatever. But he did not hesitate. And then he opened up, and there were hairs. Then he looks in the sky. 7th Karmapa, 5th Karmapa. That was weird. That was weird. It was just hair. And he didn't look like he made it up. There was just something. So I'm basically just trying to share, but he was super duper active. And at some point in Denmark, I excused him in my own mind of only being able to be active. I never saw him being quiet or whatever. So I thought, how come you're always active? I mean, and then I had once an interview with him. It was the last interview. I entered the room and everything was quiet. Nothing. It was just space-like, white. It was weird. Anyway, so this might be my own thing, but for me, it meant a lot about what he did. He was very, very active, right? He gave all the abhishekas for a whole month, never tired, never tired. And so I found this amazing, right? Let me maybe move on. I'm not sure whether this is more meaningful to me than for you. But for me, it was always personal. I always also was the secretary of International Kaki Sangha Association, which he had founded actually. So I was sort of working under him for a while. Not that there was too much contact, but he had plans. He basically, at some point he said, there was another Lama who was asked, how many flyers should we be doing for a particular event? And this particular Lama, no name, said, maybe 100 or 200? Did you hear this? 100 or 200? There should be thousands, right? That was the scope he always was in. And so there was, let's leave it at this point. There was just a super active, spontaneous, never had to think about anything. Really odd. And maybe let's watch this little video of him. Where are we? We want to share. And let's have this. Let's hope this all works out. Okay.
Your minutes. Lodrö Thaye once said to us, we should be Shambhalian monks and nuns. What do you think he meant by that?
I think you are now.
What does it mean, do you think? What do you say that we are?
가기 전에 흔히 그런 분들이 가서 기사가 다음에 지금 줄 서면 뒤난 잡아다 하는 수가 있는 것 같습니다.
slowly when you sort of are able to fulfill the vision of Trungpa Rinpoche transforming this country into enlightened society, and within that, when you're monk and nun, you are the Shambhala monk and nun. Any more questions?
Your Eminence, could you say something about the role of Gampo Abbey and monasticism in the Shambhala society, and how it could develop in terms of benefiting all sentient beings in a bigger context?
As explained earlier, that basically there is no really separation as Buddhism and that of the Shambhala society or practices. But again, that despite the fact that there is no difference, that all the Dharma is based on the manner of the example that we display, or that the model for the future. So we have to have a proper sense of the example to benefit or to display example of the will for the future, in addition to, of course, our own individual practices.
So since the Shambhala, the vision and Buddha Dharma is ultimately no difference. Based on that, and then it is very important to have the Buddhist teaching, and then essence of Buddhist teaching is of course individual practice, and the study is teaching, but then and also is necessary there should be some kind of model of the representing of the real Dharma. So that is the noble Sangha, and then since now Gampo Abbey seems to be the place for that, and so that's why it's very important in that area.
Don't you think that a person sort of having a foot in two worlds, one the ordinary life, two the study and practice of Buddha Dharma, is foolish to try to do that? Do you think that a person such as myself who's not a nun could attain enlightenment? Hampering myself needlessly by staying in the ordinary life.
No, that's not. Different people has a different, basically different karmic connections. So since every being has a Buddha nature potential, and so if you practice, definitely you can achieve liberation. But then, of course, being nun and monks, it's it gets more chance to practice. So please practice.
So the video, as I mentioned, is 50 minutes, and we will receive it and we will make it available. It's just very nice seeing him again. And the synchronicity was just, and Michael made a big effort to get me the clip. And so maybe let me go into the text, and I will quickly move through it, right? And then hopefully we can do the practice. Let me just see.
You're still sharing.
Oh, just Okay. The text sadhana is divided into 4 parts. There's the title, and just one thing. There's the title. Then the first section is invoking the enlightened energy of specific lamas and of all 4 or even 5 lineages. That's the first part in 28 verses. Then we come to Ella, that's in French, Ella, however, or so sorry now. And so basically, Elas, what's it, Elas? Elas, okay, thank you. Then the next 21 verses and 30 lines, they talk about enumeration of our faults and request for specific blessing to fill the gap between our limited outlook and the realized outlook of the Lama. And I will say a little bit more about this later. And then the very last verse is repeated 3 times. And there we have this beautiful, most beautiful music, and it's mind-boggling, so I'm going to try to play it later on. But it's about blending one's mind with the Lama's mind so that the blessing can occur, which fill the gap. So that's the whole structure of it. As for, let me first say something about the title. And I'm basically mainly just follow. It's called Calling the Guru from Afar. Okay. What was the phone number of the Guru? So we have several terms. What does calling mean? What does Guru mean? What does, in particular, what does Afar mean? And who is calling? So let me just try. So in other words, the you is not mentioned here. But if you do a phone call, the other person picks up and asks, who is speaking, right? That's the first thing. So it's implied that the student will call. So we also need to ask, who is the student? And according to who the student is, the teacher will respond accordingly. But let's first look what the Guru is. And the good news is, there's not only a single Guru. So there we have an outer Guru, an inner Guru, and a secret Guru. The outer Guru is, no surprise, the human person, anthropomorphic, arms, legs. The inner and the secret Guru do not have arms and legs. The inner Guru is luminosity, absolute bodhicitta. The inner Guru is the emptiness of all phenomena. So when you do Guru Yoga, you have to do one of those 3. And you need to be clear about, because when it comes to the Guru, if it's another person, that's a different interaction than when you talk basically to your own luminosity. Or when you talk to your own emptiness. So the Guru basically manifests as the full realization of yourself. And we are calling him because we think we have not realized our luminous empty nature. right? So when we do this Guru Yoga, you do not need to necessarily think you're communicating with other beings. The other point is the Guru alive or does he have passed away? Completely different scenarios, right? Most of them have passed away. So therefore the question, what does from afar mean? Does from afar mean, is it a distance, a physical distance? Is it a distance in time? For example, afar means someone already had died, and how do I go from different time zones? How do I deal with it? And is the Guru, which is presently available, equally valid like the one who already has passed away? So those things are discussed by Jamgön Kongtrül Lodrö Thaye. And particularly he asks, what does afar mean? Is it a question of time and distance? And he says, no. Right. So when we do this Guru Yoga, then the question, if it's not a question of time and distance, which are in particular in this physical world, we talk about time and distance. But he says, no, it is a distance of the minds. We think there's a distance between my mind and the Guru mind. So the Guru Yoga's task is to reduce that distance between my mind and the Guru's mind. It's not a question of how far away or whatever. So in other words, the Guru might be in front of your nose, and according to this, it might still be far away, right? So in many respects, what this means, like, are you invoking luminosity? Say, I need help with luminosity. So basically, the other person picks up and says, what is your call about? Right? What are you looking for when you call the Guru? Right? And there are different ways. So now let's look at, maybe let me do one thing. We talked about the 4 faults of Mahamudra, right? So we think that the Guru is far away, which roughly means it's too profound. It's like there's a distance between me and them, right? Or it's too difficult for me to be where the Guru is, right? So the 4 faults of Mahamudra, which are, let me just read them out to you so that we have them on tape. It's like, it is too easy, too simple. In theory, I feel distance from you. Even though the teacher tells you, oh, we have the same Buddha nature. In terms of Buddha nature, in terms of the essence, there's no distance between you and the teacher. You're on the same wavelength. But in terms of the relative Guru, in our head, how we approach them, there's a distance. So we think that the Guru is far away. Or what the Guru is doing is very difficult, I'm not able to do that. So we have, it's too easy or too simple, or we say it's too difficult, it's too far away, it's too good to be true, and it's too profound. This is basically why we think these things about realizing our Buddha nature. Therefore, we think that the Guru is far away from us. We call it from afar. Okay? And the Tibetan, by the way, for the first one is Shintu Lapa, and the next one Shintu Nyewa, which is distance, too close, Shintu Ringma, and Shintu Sabpa, just in case you want to look it up and explore it more. There's a good teaching by Ponno Rinpoche on it. You can also find it under 4 faults. Right. Okay, so let me quickly move on to this. Then we have outer, inner, and secret. We need to be clear on what level are you communicating, on an outer level, on an inner, or on a secret level. And the word guru means heavy, weighty, rich in knowledge or spiritual gravity. That's the word in Sanskrit. Guru means heavy, weighty. Or we have guru. Gu means darkness, symbolizing ignorance. And ru means to remove, the remover. So the guru is the one who removes darkness or ignorance. And this applies also to Hinduism as far as I understand. So this is not something that the Buddhists came up. I think it's in the Veda how they treat it. Then the other thing is like the guru and the yidam are sort of inseparable, right? So you might call the yidam, and because it's inseparable from the guru, you also call the guru. So you don't have to go to the guru directly. You can see the instructions which the guru gave about the yidam is also the guru, but we call it seeing the yidam. So when you see the yidam, you do not need to think, I'm only seeing the yidam, I'm not seeing the guru, right? So these things, we basically what this offers, that in one way or the other, if you call the guru from afar, so to speak, you address one of these different kind of options. And so as such, it's not just a simple thing. You need to be clear a little bit about what is missing in your life, right? So let me quickly go through the structure of it and give you a few examples. The first 28 verses supplicate the root guru, just the root guru, and then the root guru in its 3 aspects, Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya. After that, we talk about specific manifestations, and first all the lineage holders of the Sakyas, the Kakyu, the Nyingma, and the Gelong. All of them are invited. This is Lodrö Thaye because he's a Rime person. He does not exclude anyone. It's not just Kakyus. And then he invokes Khyentse Wangpo, Wangpo the Great, 3 verses 21 and 23, and then 4 verses of Lodrö Thaye. And each of his name, they're different names. The first is his ordination name. The second one is his bodhisattva name, which is Lodrö Thaye, unlimited wisdom or intellect. And the third one is an Abhisheka name. And the fourth one is his turtle name. So when we chant, we should sort of know when we talk about Lodrö Thaye. Lodrö Thaye comes at the end. So that's that part. Then the next section just talks about all kind of faults. And I always try to find the structure, and today I think I found the structure. And it actually was very simple. The first 1 to 11 are the faults of worldly activities. You do not respect your precious human birth. You do not understand or want to acknowledge death and impermanence. You do not act according to karma. And you suffer from samsara. Those are the 4 general preliminaries. The next ones are falling in the category, the 8 worldly dharmas, gain and loss, pleasure and pain, praise and blame, fame and disrepute. Whatever is chanted about falls into this category. Then the next thing is, up till now we talk about the problems in the worldly world. Now the problems with doing dharmic practice where we're basically just not good enough or we're not doing it. We know what to do, but we're not interested. We just couldn't care less, something like this, occasionally. So basically, all the recitation is some kind of confession to the guru where the student thinks, I have to improve on those things, but I fail presently because I'm half-baked. The next is it's the relationship to the guru. You do not see the guru as a Buddha. You do not see the Buddha nature in yourself. You just think you are ordinary. Requesting support to practice Dharma properly are the 13 lines. So in other words, at first it's more you say, I'm doing this and I'm not living up to this. The last line say, I know what I should be doing, please bless me that I will do that. So it's a positive approach. The first just points out all your weaknesses you possibly can have as a Dharma practitioner. So that's the main structure of this mentioning the faults you have. And the last verse, you want to be united with the gurus, that there's a free exchange and openness without holding back. Okay? Then I do one more thing. The question is, as I know I'm aware of the time. Eric Pema Kunsang wrote 1 or 2 pages about how should we do this practice based on Tulku Uchen's instructions. So basically, let me read it out. I think it's very beautiful. And then we can basically say, how should you do this particular practice, which was the most important one for Tulku Uchen and Chökyi Nyima. It was their family thing. Jamgön Kongtrül was an incredible master. My teacher, Tulku Uchen Rinpoche, loved him dearly, even though they never met. But Tulku Uchen's grandmother met him, Lodrö Thaye. And she told many stories about what he looked like and how he spoke. She could even imitate him. When Tulku Uchen told stories, he could also remember the tone of voice of Patrul Rinpoche, of Jamgön Kongtrül Rinpoche, and of Chökyi Lingpa, and many, many others, different voices, and would imitate them all really well. I love to listen to his stories, and many of them are in his biography, Blazing Splendor. Tulku Uchen used to sing the Calling the Guru from Afar with his father and mother at retreat centers when he was a young child, so he knew the tune from Jamgön Kongtrül. Chökyi Nyima Rinpoche also used to sing it with his father and mother, so this chant is something very intimate to them. Tulku Uchen did retreat in a cave near Ipoh, in the northern part of Malaysia. Ipoh has many caves, and in one of the larger ones, which can easily hold 100 people, he stayed many, many times. He lived in a cave with its snakes and scorpions. People came daily to receive guidance, blessings, and also to be healed by him. I was fortunate to spend several months with the scorpions and the snakes, with him there. One of these mornings during breakfast, his oldest son, Chökyi Nyima Rinpoche, said, "My father and I would like you to translate one text. It's very dear to us." Then he handed me an old woodblock print in the bed, and it was called Calling the Guru from Afar. By the way, Calling the Guru from Afar is a genre. There are many Calling the Gurus from Afar. When you chant, do it from the heart. That's why I call it intensifying devotion in one's heart. It's a heart song that makes it very precious. It's a way to pry open your heart chakra so that there's no longer any barrier between yourself and the minds of all gurus in the 8 practice lineages. Address them directly. Address them directly. We talked about this in the last days a lot. Address them directly. Imagine that they are present right before you, alive with kind, wise eyes, looking directly at you and shining with resplendent light. You can also imagine these masters above the crown of your head or in your heart chakra. Whichever is most easy for you, do that. It's perfectly all right. In the first part, we address each of the enlightened masters and ask them to bestow their particular blessings, the realization of the practices that they went through to unfold complete enlightenment. The second part lists all the hindrances we meditators face from now on and until complete enlightenment. Sometimes it's hard to practice. Sometimes it's difficult to be authentic and totally lay down our obscurations in a second. So what is the obstacle? Jamgön Kongtrül kindly lists them one by one in this song, so that we can know for sure what those obstacles are, to call out from the heart to those who represent the awakened state. Is like holding an enlarging glass to focus the sun's place into a single point. When totally open from the core of your heart, any obstacle can be overcome. After chanting, now it goes on, simply remain in an atmosphere that is suffused with blessing and inspiration. The word for blessing is adhisthana in Sanskrit or chinlap in Tibetan, which means to be suffused with the spirit of enlightenment. That is the real meaning of blessing. Does it come from outside or from inside? In the beginning, we make ourselves believe that it comes from somebody else. But in actuality, it is not a concrete thing handed over from one to another. It is more something that happens when we open up, totally and completely, because then the awakened state that has been realized by all masters of the lineage in our basic being are seen to never have been different. Not even in the slightest. In that opening, we can experience how this indivisible unity of the awakened state is in actuality. So, what I want to do now, I suggest that we will skip the Guru Yoga, because I see also a few tired eyes here around here. But I will send and publish the outline of it, and the text is available via the Nalanda Translation Committee. You can read through it, and my outline will tell you the numbers of the verses, and you can number the text according to the sections, and then next time maybe just combine it. But for tonight, I think we just listen to the last 3 verses, right? And then, is that okay? Okay. Oh, I even find it this time. Okay. Okay. So this is by Lama Gyurme and this French arranger. They combined together, so all the background music, if you haven't heard yet, it's just, the whole thing is just very beautifully done. So we will start out at 18 minutes, and I think the repetition happens at around 20 minutes. But I give you a little bit the chanting, and then actually I give you a little bit more because we still have time now. Okay. I just want to give you a little bit of feeling and just tune into it.
Jewani Noel
By the Samaritan, may all the nations, may the end me wrong. On the stormy waves, the birds of the sickness and death of the ocean. May I feel being by the confidence of the golden sun and the great east, may the Lord's garden, the erect and the wisdom. May the dark ignorance of deception being be dispelled, may our beings enjoy the found rain. Okay, good night. See you tomorrow. Okay, thank you everyone for joining in.
Thank you, Lodrö.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sangpo.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Lodrö. Fantastic.
Sleep well up there, Söpa Chöling, Gampo Abbey.
Well,
See you tomorrow.
Thanks, Sangpo.
Thank you. Thank you, Sangpo. Thank you so much.